I'm Rhett.
And I'm Brandon.
And we're the House Dads. Because we're dads who sell houses.
But we're also husbands, business owners, sports freaks, Christians,
friends, marketing nerds, TV show bingers, and so many more things.
Like so many of you, we're just trying to do it all. And we're trying to do it well.
And that's what we're here to talk about. Welcome, everybody, to episode 23.
Michael Jordan episode.
We're in the MJ episode.
Yeah.
Hopefully we give you an MJ performance. Welcome to another episode of House Dads. We, as always, are excited to see you.
Yes.
Because we know you're watching us on YouTube.
Right.
We're excited to give you some value. Got a good topic for you. But first, I want to give a shout out. We are in the middle of summer. I'll say the middle. We're at the beginning of summer.
Today feels like the middle of summer.
Yeah, it's hot temperature-wise. But on top of that, we are house dads. We're dads. But we want to give a shout-out to the parents because we know summer can be pretty rough.
It's brutal.
It's no structure for your kids. You're having to be very flexible with your work schedule and everything you plan.
Yeah.
It can be rough.
Yeah, my poor wife right now, she's in the middle of swimming lessons with both boys, planning our youth camp where we take 100 kids to Panama City. So scheduling buses and all the different worship and chaos that comes along with that. And then we've also got T-ball season going on too. So it's like...
It's a lot.
It's a grind, man.
It's a lot.
It's a grind, yeah.
Yeah, so there's not really the break you get sometimes with school.
Right.
And there's this constant tug and pull for me. Brandy's at home with the girls, and she's also 21 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, I want to work hard and provide, but also I want to be home and help.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All that to say, we know it can be a struggle, all you moms and dads out there during the summer. We're right there with you.
Yes, we absolutely are.
Stand strong, show up every day.
Yeah. Have your girls done swim lessons?
They've done like this weird week-long type, I think just to get them acquainted to the water.
Right.
They by no means can swim right now.
Yeah.
But I think they've done that a couple times.
I think we traumatized Max.
Just throw him
we
in
did
there?
it like really young.
Okay.
And my buddy Max, he's my 4.5-year-old.
Uh-huh.
He's just a lot more reserved, apprehensive to try new things, a little bit more timid. Whereas Lucas, my 2.5-year-old, oh, there's a pool, let me jump in it. He's the one that ran down the street. You know? So they're in swim lessons right now in 2 separate classes, and Max is really nervous, taking his time about everything. And Lucas is the teacher's bringing him around and using him as the prop and stuff. So
is it swim lessons or is it survival lessons?
It's swim lessons.
Chunk them in the
pool.
pool.
It's actually swim lessons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you seen those before?
Yes.
Have y'all done that?
No.
That's terrifying.
No, I don't know if I'm
sure it's beneficial.
Sure.
But I've seen videos of just chunking kids or babies.
Good luck.
I'm like, oh. How do
it's
you
the old thing so my dad taught me to swim. He just kicked me in the deep end. No, he didn't.
Not nowadays.
No.
Give you all the floaties you need, kid.
That's right.
But yes, so we are going to get into our topic today. The topic is being present.
Yeah.
We're excited to talk about it. And it's not easy.
No, I think especially starting it off talking about summer for you parents, a lot of us are already skipping towards vacation. In our minds, we're already skipping towards our kids going back to school.
Yep.
So being present is really, really difficult. And I'll be honest with you, and I'll level with you today, that this episode is definitely more of a do as I say and not as I do.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I really struggle with. I'm working on it. And you can probably see if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, however you can see us, I've got a nice little tan line going on in my forehead.
Just little flakes.
Yeah, some flakes are already started and stuff. I'll probably wear my hat for the next episode. But, it hit me this weekend when I was out fishing with some of my buddies. And, man, we were having an awesome time tearing up the fish. And we were on a charter. And when we would go from spot to spot, or I even realized it the first time we got on the landing at 5:30 and took off, and the sun's starting to come up and everything like that. But I'm scrolling and looking on my phone.
Yeah,
and I'm like, man, number one, I paid this money to come on this charter. I'm with my boys. I'm out here doing what I want to do, fishing, looking at God's creation, looking at nature, looking at this sunrise over the Gulf of Mexico.
It's the sunrise, man.
Yeah, it was beautiful,
the best ever.
And I'm here looking on my phone,
looking at real estate.
Yeah, exactly. Checking emails and looking at new listings that popped up. And I'm just like, man, it hit me that I'm struggling on being present, and I think this is something that I've always dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Like even when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I really looked like I was just, the thing that reminds me the most is I'll never forget my mom. My mom never gets mad about much, or she doesn't get mad about much. But one of the things that I used to do to irritate her to no end is, especially when we were on vacation, be on a trip. I remember one specific time we were eating lunch because we'd go out to eat on vacation or whatnot. We were eating lunch at one of our favorite places in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Piccadilly?
Nope, not Piccadilly.
Okay.
Piccadilly was a Sunday after church special.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, but no, we're sitting there eating, and I had already we were just getting wrapped up with our lunch. I was like, "Hey, so what's for dinner?" And she would just always hate so much. Like, can you just enjoy lunch?
We're at lunchtime.
Yeah, like you barely have finished your lunch. Just wait. Right? I don't know what's for dinner.
Swallow
yet.
first.
Yeah, and
Swallow your Jello.
She always, she's just like, just wait, just be present.
Yep.
Just be here in this moment. And I think whether it's looking towards to the next meal, to the next vacation, to the next weekend off, whatever it is, we're looking forward and missing so much out of the present. And being present is so important, not only just like for our mental state, and we're going to get into this in a little bit, but it's important for our relationships too. Like I went to a conference a couple months ago, and at this conference, like I was really excited to meet this guy. I'm not going to say his name, but really excited to meet this guy. Loved hearing him speak. He gave an incredible message. And then afterwards, I just wanted to ask him some questions. He'd been in business and also ministry and all these different things. And so hung around after to meet him. And I get a chance to meet him, and like it didn't look like he was busy or rushing off or ready to go or something.
Right.
But meet him, introduce myself, and ask a couple of questions, and I could tell that he did not want to be having this conversation.
Checked out, huh?
Totally checked out.
Gave his message.
Looking at his phone.
Oh, wow.
Like while we're talking.
Was he in a hurry to get out, or just
he was
checked
just
out?
standing there. Like he was just
Oh,
checked
wow.
out. Like you could just
Different.
It wasn't the same guy that I was talking to on stage.
Yeah.
He was not present with me in that conversation.
Yeah.
And no judgment, like from there could have been a lot going on.
Yeah.
There could have been whatever. He could have had something going on, but it affected the way that I looked at him. Even though I want to show him grace and forgiveness, but it affected like, hey, he couldn't even just be present with me for a moment. And so
Was it Francis Chan?
no, it was
Brian
not
Houston?
Francis Chan. No.
Louis
No,
Giglio?
not that big. You probably wouldn't even know who he is, but I'll tell you after. But
try to start some drama
you
here.
ever struggle with like that?
Yeah. Yeah, so being present for me, it's there's a constant struggle because of, surprise, surprise, social media.
Yeah.
And I thought about it this weekend, filming our girls at their dance recital. I was like, it was at their rehearsal. But I'm like, I'm looking at them through my phone. I'm not
Right.
even looking at them with
In
my
person.
own eyes. But
Yeah.
there's that constant like struggle in my head of got to have content for social media, for marketing. And I'm always thinking about that rather than like living in the moment, especially like you say on vacation or just times you're supposed to be like just resting, at finding peace. But you're constantly thinking, okay, how can I document this? Should I do just stop?
Just
be. That's always a constant struggle for me.
Yeah.
So it takes intention to me of like putting my phone down and just like sitting and just acknowledging the moment.
It's tough. And because life moves so fast, and because we do feel like we have this pressure to create content, to post stuff, to stay engaged and in front of people, it's so easy to get caught up in planning for the future, doing all these different things. And it's easy to get caught up in the past, and we forget to just savor the present.
Yeah.
And we miss so much. And, we got some statistics on this, and the statistics are really, really cool. But before we do, we've mentioned YouTube a couple of times. One of the ways that's going to really help us grow our channel, if you could, is actually like the video on YouTube. So subscribe and like on YouTube.
Yes.
If you're watching on any other platform, just hop over to YouTube. We know you've got it, and just click us a like later,
Yeah.
However you're listening, we appreciate it. But those likes on our YouTube videos definitely help us grow. So please do so. But yeah, some of the statistics we got are pretty cool
Also,
here too.
drop us a comment too on who you thought Brandon was talking to. It could be Stephen Furtick. Could be.
Yeah, don't go back too far in my stories because you may see what conference I was at or
Just
back on my
kidding.
post.
But
Yeah.
drop us a comment too if you want to. Just take a
Yeah,
guess.
we like it.
But yes, going into the statistics we have here, there was a Harvard researcher named Matt Killingsworth. I'm sure all of you have heard of him, and he is probably watching the show.
Yeah, but you heard of Harvard.
Yeah. Harvard, definitely one of my favorite football teams. No.
Ivy
But
League champs.
his quote that we have here is mind wandering is likely a cause and not merely a consequence of unhappiness. I'll read that again. Mind wandering is likely a cause and not merely a consequence of unhappiness. So he did a research and aggregated data from like 15,000, I say like,
Jeez.
exactly, 15,000
Right.
people, 80 countries, various ages, income levels. So it's not like he went to this like same demographic of people.
Yeah.
They're spread all over countries, ages, income levels. And the study suggests that mind wandering has a more significant effect on happiness than other factors like income, education, gender, marital status. So it's pretty interesting.
Stuff we would normally
Stuff you'd
attribute
assume.
happiness to. Yeah, and it, like okay, mind wandering. Mind wandering is not being present.
Right.
It's thinking about something that's already happened, or thinking about something that is going to happen or could happen. And part of his study too, he also found, and this is mind blowing, how much we mind wander, but he found that 47% of the time that we think about anything, our mind is wandering.
Yeah,
So
nuts.
nearly half of the time that we spend just in our thoughts, we're thinking about something that has happened or has not happened, not just what's going on in the present.
I mean, we're here filming a podcast. My mind is wandering. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, am I missing something on my phone? Being on Do Not Disturb, or
Yeah, it's
know.
crazy. So if you really think about it, that means that 50% of the time that you're awake, you're thinking about somewhere else as opposed to where you are.
yeah,
So it shows us, man, how important this is. We have to practice being present, because being not present or unpresent leads us to some unhappiness. It leads us to being disconnected and all those different things.
yeah.
So
taking a look into things and kind of digging a little deeper, what it means to be present, right? You're wondering, all right, our mind, if we don't wander, what does it mean to actually be present? And it's easier, to say, hey, be present. It's like, what
100%.
does that mean?
Right.
So to kind of give a little definition or description of it, being present means fully immersing ourselves in a current moment, the current moment, without getting stuck in thoughts about the past or the future. Right. So you think about, it's easy for me to think about, what's going on? What am I going to do after this, or what's going to happen next? But the past is also something like that.
That's huge.
So it's like turning up the volume on life and engaging in all of our senses, and then tuning that. It's like turning up the volume on life and engaging all our senses, tuning into the here and the now. Right. So no judgments, no distractions, just literally sitting, sulking, feeling a peace about the moment.
And that sounds good. It's
Easier
like,
said than
okay,
done.
great. Yeah, I would love to do that. But yeah, I think it's easy to get hyper-focused on the future. But a lot of us, too, can be stuck in our past. And stuck sounds really, really hardcore. But even just thinking so much about our past. But regardless of how our minds are wandering, whether it's in the future, whether it's in the past, if it's not in the present, it makes it impossible to make deep connections with other people and a deep connection with ourselves.
Right.
And I know that sounds weird, like talking about making a deep connection with ourselves, but we have to be able to get silent and get alone with ourselves to make that type of connection.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like I talked about with the guy at the conference, is that, we have to be fully present in conversations with other people to make meaningful connections, because otherwise they can tell that you don't care about them because your mind is somewhere else.
Right.
And you're not actually showing compassion. You're not showing empathy, and you're not building a strong relationship with somebody else because you're somebody else.
Right.
You're somewhere else. And so, being present, we're going to talk about how it affects your mental health, but it doesn't also affect the inside. It affects the outside. It affects those relationships that you've got with other people too.
Yeah, and preparing for this, when I read about like past, thinking about past and future, I'm like, nostalgia is a big thing for me. So like I talked about before, like music is like, that was a big thing for me in hye school. I can hear a song that I listened to in high school, and my brain just starts wondering about, wow, like I remember like the friends I had, what we were doing at this moment that I heard this song. And it definitely, like, it's fun to think about in like nostalgia purposes, but like it definitely takes you out of the moment. Like it also leads to like, it could lead to bitterness. It could lead to like, wow, I'm thankful, but like either way, it takes you out of the present moment. Right. It is a distraction.
Right.
Going into kind of what Brandon was talking about, and having to really focus on yourself and discover yourself. It's like the saying, no one cares what you know until they know that you care.
Right.
So when you live in the moment, it doesn't just help our relationships and those around us, but it helps our mental well-being as well.
Right.
So it just makes us more in tune.
Yeah.
Right. So if you are present, you're more aware of people's, feelings around you.
Yeah, exactly.
You're more aware of like maybe what they're going through. It's not
Right.
just about you. You're thinking about other people as well.
Exactly.
So instead of sweating the small stuff or worrying about what's to come, we focus on what's right in front of us. That's what's being present.
Yeah.
And that shift in perspective brings us, peace,
Right.
contentment,
Right.
which is a hard thing to obtain sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that, so, I mean, we can all agree, just kind of discussing, like, being present is important. So how do we actually implement it?
Yes.
How do we practice it? We truly have to practice it because it's not something that comes natural.
No.
We have this natural inclination to hyper-focus on the future or think about what's happened to us or what's been done in the past. So we truly have to design ourselves to be present in moments. And I mentioned this earlier, that being present is not only about the relationship with others, but being present is about the relationship with yourself.
Yep.
That sounds weird, but
No, I get it.
the first thing that we're talking about is like you have to implement being still and being quiet. Because a lot of people don't like to be still and be quiet because they get alone with their thoughts, and alone with their thoughts is a scary place to be.
It is.
A lot of times when you're quiet and alone, then all you can think about are you can't tune out the noises or the voices
Right.
in your head. And so it's like a mirror, and you're confronted with that. But if you never allow yourself that time to be present and to think about what you are actually thinking about by being still and quiet, you're never going to grow, and you're never going to really be able to be present. And I practice that, and I've told you this before, and I've told it to others, and they're like, man, you're insane. But you'll see me in my car occasionally with absolutely nothing on.
Yeah.
And it's like no podcast, no message, no music. It's just me in silence. And it's become a practice of mine that helps me get the proper perspective on life.
For sure.
Like I'll put the phone, in the center console, let that go away for 5-10 minutes and just be silent and be quiet. I'm not tuning. I'm not thinking about what's happened. I'm not thinking about what's coming up. I'm just being present in that very moment, what's required of me, what's needed, and I'm just being.
Yep.
I'm just there. And that mindfulness, man, it allows me to kind of refocus and take care of myself here for a moment.
Yeah. Gives clarity. I've done that exact thing, like not even intentionally. I'm just like, I've been so overwhelmed at some points where I'm just like, I can't.
Yep.
Like I got to stop. So I've gone to my office, I've shut the door, put the phone, and I actually put on a song, but like a soothing type song to like soothe my brain.
Right.
But I'm like, I can't talk to anybody right now. I don't have enough like just mental awareness. I don't know. I don't like how I would respond to someone if I were like feeling like this. So I just took some time
To get away.
just like, sat there.
Yes.
And it was like short and sweet, 5 minutes. But afterwards, I was like, all right, let's do this.
And we've talked about it in previous podcasts, especially about starting your morning well. That's why it's so important to do this in the morning.
Yeah.
By getting still and getting quiet, because it helps put your mind in the proper perspective to be present throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah, helps you jab or duck those punches that you're
Exactly.
gonna get. But you
Early on.
still get hit every once in a while,
100%.
during the day, and that's the time where it's like, all right, sometimes you just gotta unplug
Exactly.
and be still,
keep quiet.
and be quiet.
Yeah.
So the second thing we have is to strategically plan and time block.
Right.
Go figure.
Yeah.
We've talked about that a lot in some past episodes. Time blocking just gives you direction, and being in the reading more books, listening to more podcasts, you hear a lot. You'll hear this line: discipline equals freedom.
Yeah.
And if you hear that the first time, you're like, all right, that doesn't make sense.
Sure.
Discipline, like I don't want someone telling me what to do or how to do it. If it's too streamlined or too like strict, it confines me.
Constricts you. Yeah.
But it's the opposite. So when you have discipline and you time block, it frees everything. It frees
Right.
your mind.
Right.
It allows you to achieve what it is you want to achieve rather than just winging it every day. So in a sense, it does give you freedom if you strategically plan and time block.
Right. I've really, as we're teaching on this stuff, one of the things we mentioned is we don't want to teach you something that we're not practicing and not implementing. And so I've really focused on, I've always time blocked, always planned strategically with my schedule and whatnot, but really being intentional about it, where you're going to catch a couple times throughout the day where my phone is on Do Not Disturb.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it is that first hour when I get home with my boys.
Yeah.
And so I've really started to dedicate that time to them. And so when I get home, we can play superheroes and my phone's not ringing off the hook, and I'm not telling boys, hey, hold on, Thanos is going to be right back. I'm not Hulk anymore. I'm Thanos.
Yeah.
I'm the bad guy. But I'm like, okay, I'm not stopping that time with them. We're playing superheroes. We're being present in the moment. Mm-hmm. And they're not seeing me reach for my phone, do this, and all this different stuff. And it's just, but I have to discipline myself to do that, to actually enjoy that freedom.
For sure.
And if I didn't do what I was doing the If I wasn't doing what was required of me before that and then after that, then I can't do that and do it freely.
Yeah.
So
It's cool now that the iPhone tells you when the other person is on Do Not Disturb.
Yes.
So kind of like, okay, I get it.
Let's get this message.
I'm assuming that's what the case is.
Yeah,
but
some
like,
people don't get it. And a lot of times my clients get it. Well, a lot of it is other agents don't get it. But
No.
it is what it is. Like, I'm trying to get in your listing now. It's like, well, that's why showing time's for. But anyway.
A little bitterness
A little
there?
bit of a bitterness. Yeah, we'll get to that. But
Comment below what agent you think Brandon is talking.
I'm just trying to throw everybody under the bus today.
Just kidding.
But no, the next thing that we need to do to practically implement, being present in the moment is having a healthy perspective on your past and your future. Being present isn't about neglecting what's happened to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not totally throwing away your past. And it's not failing to plan for your future. It's not either one of those things. It's about finding a sweet spot by appreciating what's happened in your past, learning from it, growing from it, and also setting intentions and plans in place for the future, but not living there.
Yeah.
Right? Like planning for the future, but don't get so caught up in it that you're missing the present moment.
Yeah.
Because the same thing with worry is true about hope, is that a lot of times what we're hoping for or worrying for, they don't actually come to be.
Right.
And so we invest so much in expectation of a vacation. And then as soon as that vacation's over, we just feel that crash.
Right.
Or we invest so much in, man, I just got to make it to Friday. I just got to get to the weekend. And then Sunday night comes and it's like, crap, I got to go back to work. Mm-hmm. When you're always hoping and waiting and putting all your expectation in that next thing that's to come as opposed to enjoying the moment, then you're an emotional roller coaster.
Yep.
As opposed to being consistent because you're just being present, just being in the moment.
You see this a lot in real estate, or at least my perspective. Like, we're always like, deals are 30 days apart.
Right.
So we're also like, we're always living in the deal in the next 30 days, next 30 days. And it's easy to lose perspective on how far you've come.
That's good.
I remember just when we had our first house, like I bought it as a foreclosure, small house, just like very simple lifestyle. Yeah. My mortgage was $800. How awesome was that?
That's insane.
And it's
That'll
like
buy you like a, I don't know. I don't even know. Get some of our mortgage friends to tell us. But anyway.
But I remember sitting on my back patio, grilling burgers, just being like, wow, I'm thankful that I have a house.
Well, I did.
And then as, life happens, the hustle and bustle, you're like, well, we got to make sure we got to pay this mortgage. And now we're looking at a new car for having another baby.
Yeah.
It's easy to just like neglect right now, like how far you've come and not get bogged down with where you want to go.
That's good.
Right.
That's why it's a healthy relationship with both.
Yeah.
Remembering the past to say, I remember how nice it was just to be grilling that burger on the back porch. And now you got your kids running around and the kids that come and all these things and not looking so far into the future. Yeah. It's a tough balance, but actually implementing and practicing it allows us to walk a little bit more peacefully. It's a big deal.
Absolutely. Big deal. Moving along, we have another number 4, embrace the mundane. I feel like this is resonates a lot with me, but
especially in summertime.
In the summertime, especially with like newborns, kids, like life is very mundane. It's very tiring. It doesn't seem like, you can easily get on social media and see people traveling.
Right.
We have friends recently that got married in France. And
come on, dude.
We weren't close enough to get the invite, but a lot of friends did go.
Yeah.
And it was very easy as they're posting their France pictures.
Yikes.
They went to Switzerland after. I was like, here I am putting the kids down at 7, eating macaroni and cheese, leftovers. Right. It's easy to comparison is one thing, but like get caught up in like, I need to have every moment be like this awesome.
Stellar.
No, like you can find just like sitting on the back porch grilling a burger. Like that was a very special moment, and you have to embrace it. You have to just realize, hey, life is it's a series of little moments, right? It doesn't have to be these big slam dunk moments. So embrace them.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's so important. Is like we have to practice these things because we weren't just naturally born to just love just every little moment.
Right.
Like even our kids, they're wired for what's next. What are we doing when we wake up tomorrow? Right. Mm-hmm. They're always wanting to know what's next too. So we have to train ourselves to be present and be in the moment. And I think we've kind of talked about this when we talk about like our mental health and things like that. But we have these neural pathways that are set up in our brain, right? And these neural pathways are the more often that we think a thought, the easier it becomes to think.
Yeah.
Right. And so those neural pathways trigger us to say, well, I'm upset or I'm discontent or I'm frustrated. And so I'm going to immediately look for what's next as
Right.
opposed to trying to find the best in this situation.
For sure.
And so we have to reprogram our thinking and reprogram our brain to say, no, I'm not going to put my hope in the vacation. I'm not going to put my hope in my kids finally leaving the house or whatever it is. I'm just going to find the best in this situation. And then the more often that you think that, the easier it becomes to think.
Yeah.
So we have to reprogram it to say, I'm not putting all my hope in the thing that's to come,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm not putting all my frustration and stuff in the past. I'm
Right.
just going to be present. We have to reprogram our thinking to embrace the mundane, that it's not mundane, that it's beautiful. Because has there ever been a season of your life that hasn't required more of you the older that you get?
No.
It doesn't get easier.
No. Or if it does get easier, there's another element that gets harder.
It gets harder. The next season of our life always requires more of us than the past.
Yep.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be growing and doing those different things. And so we rush the next season without truly embracing the present. We have to be focused
For sure.
on the present,
Yep.
the now.
Crazy that all of these things, these good things for us, require work. You
Isn't that
know?
amazing?
You can't just sit back and
Yeah,
let it
it's
happen.
like
Gotta work for it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a big deal. But I hope this was helpful for some people today. I think that, no matter what stage of life you're in, like even if you're a little kid like me and you're at lunch and you're ready for what's for dinner,
Yep.
it's like the earlier that we get this, the more content, the more happy we can be because we're focused on the present and
Yep.
not the future or the past.
Absolutely. Love it. Anything else?
No, I think that's
Sweet.
it.
Well, was it John Piper? No. Okay. Just try one more time.
No.
We'll figure it out.
You're not going to get
offset.
it. You could probably go back through my stuff on social media and
That's
see
it.
the conference that I was at.
Just messing.
But,
Giving them a hard time. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We hope this brought you some value. And again, give us a like, give us some comments, give us some love. We want to keep bringing you value. And stand strong, parents, this summer. You got this.
You got
You
this.
can do it. And we will see you next episode.
Later.